Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to deal with a very important topic known as change of subject or formula. So let me introduce it. Let's say you are being told to find the area of a triangle. You say area of a triangle. We usually write it as half base times height. You can say area equal to half base times height. And you're being told to look for the area of a circle. You can now say area is pi r squared. Now what do you notice? Notice that there is this still an algebraic equation, but there is this letter that is just on its own at the left hand side, while the rest are at the right hand side. The letter that when we substitute values, we can notice we have been building up to this point. We first did with algebra, from algebra we did the equation, from equation we moved to substitution. Now we are doing with change of subject. You understand? There is this value that this letter at the right hand side, when you substitute the value inside, you now finally get the value of the one at the right hand side. The one at the left hand side, sorry, now I'm mixing it up, is called the subject. The subject is the one that appears alone, while the other ones are at the other side of the equation. So, but there are some times when you are being given the area of a circle, or maybe the base or the height, and you're told to look for the other, where you are given the area and the base, and you're told to look for the height. For you to be able to solve for it, you have to know how to make the height to stand alone at the other side of the equation, while the rest stand at the other part of the equation. Let's give an example. When we have distance, as we've done in this class, to be velocity times time. Sometimes you're giving distance and you're giving time, and you're being told to look for the velocity. You find out that we will now say that velocity is now distance over time. At this point, notice that velocity is now on its own, while distance and time are at the other side of the equation. So when you make one of the letter of an algebraic expression to be a subject of the remaining letters, we call it change of subject or formula. So what do we do here? This is our example 12. Let's start. Excuse me. You have a is equal to b bracket 1 minus x. But now let's assume you are being told to make x the subject of the formula. So the best way to make it is, first make sure you express x to be alone. You can't make x the subject of the formula and you are still seeing x somewhere else inside the other side of the equation. So you make sure that only x is on one side while the rest of the equation at the other. In the case we are doing here, the right hand side. Let's go. First thing we are going to do is open up the bracket, so we'll have access to x, because this b has access to 1 and x. So we can say open up the bracket. We have a is equal to b, because b times 1 is b, minus b times x, bx. Right? The next thing we are going to do is try to bring x to the right side of the equation. Remember what I said, it has negative here, so when it crosses, it becomes positive. So you now have bx. While on the other hand, this b is already here. This a will cross to the other side. When a crosses, it's positive here, so when it crosses, it becomes negative. So now we still have x with coefficient, but when you are making for subject, x must be on its own. So what you do, divide both sides by b, or you can say when b crosses the equation, because it's multiplying x here, if it crosses it becomes division. So we can say x is now b minus a all divided by b. So this is your final answer to the expression. So you can also say let's make b the subject of the formula. From here, it's a little bit dicey. You have to solve to make sure that, because we have b here and we have b here, so you have to make sure it's 1b. But from here it's easier. You just have to divide both sides of the equation by 1 over x, 1 over x. In that case, you have it that b is, let's assume we are taking it from here, b will be equal to a divided by 1 over x. So now we've gotten for x, this is for x, this is for a, and this is for b. But in a case where you are giving this as an example, it's a little bit, in this case, let's say you are giving this x equal to b minus a. So we are going to see that in this class. Is a different thing. You have to make sure you solve for it, put b at one part of the equation, and so let's go to the next example. So this is what I was saying. We are being told to make x the subject of the formula, and we now have x two places. So it's not, you don't need to panic. All you need to do is multiply both sides by the denominator, which is b over x. So by the time you do that, you have something like a multiplied by b sorry, b minus x plus x equal to b plus x over b minus x multiplied by b minus x. So multiplying both sides by b minus x. So by the time you solve for that, you have a b minus x is equal to, this will cancel out, b plus x. So the next thing you're going to do is open up the bracket, because while we're opening up this bracket, because x is what we want to make the social formula, and we are still having x in two different places. So we are trying to bring out x to be just one, as a, we'll let one be the coefficient. So a times b will be ab minus a times x will be ax. This will give us b plus x. I can write this equation as b plus x is equal to ab minus ax. Either way, if you solve it like you are getting, if you solve it like you are getting, it's still the same thing. So the next thing we are going to do is, let's move a, because this is x, so we want x to be at the left hand side while the rest be at the right hand side. So let's move x here. I'm going to have the b will go to this side, so x is already plus, this is the x here, this one has minus, so when you cross the equation become plus ax is equal to, this is the ab that was here, so we'll write it out. Then b crosses the equation to be minus b. We are getting there. So you can see that x, we have x only at one side of the equation, so we take out x into x divided by x will give you what? 1. Ax divided by x will give you plus a. So you have ab minus b. So now to make x, the coefficient of x to be 1, you divide both sides by a plus b. So when you divide both sides by a plus b, you have ab minus b all divided by 1 plus a. I don't know why I said a plus b initially. This is 1 plus a. Divide both sides by 1 plus a. So this will be your final answer. When you divide here by 1 plus a, it will cancel out. The coefficient of x will be 1. When you divide here by 1 plus a, this will be your expression. But then we can make this expression more neat by taking out b. You can see that there is b here and there is b here. So x will now be something like b into bracket ab divided by b will give you a minus b divided by b will give you 1. All divided by 1. Whether you make it 1 plus a or you make it a plus 1, it's still the same thing. So this is your final answer. So you can see that now this expression, we have made x the subject of the formula, where x is now on the left hand side of the equation with coefficient of 1. The rest of the equation is now at the right hand side. This is it. So what it means is that when you are solving for an expression, maybe you are giving b and a and you are being told to look for x, just put in the b, substituting the values of b and a in this equation, you are going to get the real value of x as related to this equation. So let's go to the next example. So this is example 14. Make x the subject of the formula. We have this expression. So the first thing we are going to do is try to remove x. Now you can see that this is x squared and this is a square root. So we are trying to make x, the coefficient of x to be 1, while the other expression goes to the right side. So first, let me rewrite this equation. So x will be at the right hand side. I will say 1 over 2 square root of a squared minus x squared is equal to b. So first now we're going to do multiply both sides by 2. So if you multiply here by 2, we are going to have only a squared minus x squared, while this side of the equation will be 2b. As you can see, I'm not showing it. Or you just multiply here by 2, multiply here by 2. You notice that these 2 will cancel out, and here will now be 1, while this 2 is what you are seeing here. So the next thing, x is still not on its own, so we keep removing things that are attached to x till you get the coefficient of x to be 1. So first thing, you have a square root here. So when you have square root, what do? You square both sides. So when I square both sides of the equation, squared, I'm going to have this square will cancel out the square root. So you have a squared minus s squared is the same. The 2b squared will give you 4b squared. The square of 2 is 4 and the square of b is b squared. So the next thing, a will go to the other side of the equation. We now have minus s squared is equal to, the a is plus here, so when you go to the other side it will be negative 4b squared minus a squared. Are we making sense? So the next thing we are going to do, this negative sign, we can't find square root of negative number. So that's on higher level where you start doing with imaginary number. So we multiply here both sides of the equation by negative. So minus times x squared, we have x squared, or minus times minus will be plus. On the other hand, minus times 4b squared to be minus 4b squared. Minus times minus a squared will give you plus a squared. So when you write the equation, you now have something like a squared is equal to, here, let me write a first, a squared minus 4b squared. It's still the same thing. This is the same as that. So now that we've gotten this, the next thing we are going to look for is x is already on its own at one side of the equation, but the coefficient, we still have a power. So the power must be 1 and the coefficient must be 1, and the, what do you call it, the sign must be positive. So these are the things you look out for. So we can't say this is our final answer. So we still need to work on it further. So find the square root of both sides. So when you find square root of x squared and the square root of a squared minus 4b squared, the square root will cancel the square. So it will now be x is equal to, mind you, when you're looking for square root, remember what we did in our previous class when we are dealing with, you notice when you look for square root, let's give you an example. You have minus 2 and you have plus 2. Minus 2 all squared will give you 4. Y plus 2 all squared will also give you 4. So we all know that the square of a negative number also gives us positive number, same as the square of a positive number. So when you're looking for square root of a number, you don't really know. Let's say you want to find the square root of 4, you don't really know which of the two gave rise to this 4, whether it's a minus 2 or the plus 2. So when you want to express it, you can say the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2, meaning this plus minus sign means is either it is 2 or it is either minus 2 or plus 2. That's what it means. So we are applying that logic here. So the square root of this, we don't know which of them gave rise to our x squared. So we are going to put that plus or minus sign in front of it. A squared minus 4b squared. So this is our final answer. So you can see that we have achieved what we want. Make sure that the coefficient of x is 1, the power is 1, and the sign is what? Not negative but positive. Let's go to our first exercise. So exercise 6F, number 1. You have x, mind you, everything here is x that we're making the subject of the formula. So let me just write it here, x. So I don't need to ask. Make x the subject of the formula. We have x plus a is equal to b. Simply move a to the other side of the equation. You have b. A is positive, so when you move to the other side, it becomes negative. B minus a. This is your final answer. You don't need to stress yourself here. Here, the power of x is 1, coefficient 1, sign is positive, so that's what we want. Coming to the second one, we have this. So we have x here, we also have x here. So first thing first, we are going to do something like take b to the other side and take x to the other side. When x comes to the other side, you have ax. It's positive here, so it will be minus x. B goes to the other side of the equation. Or let me just do it this way. I think this is a longer way. Let me write this equation as b. Or let's go this way. I'll say something like, if you write this equation, I'll have x is equal to ax plus b. Let's leave this one that I was solving. We are still going to get the same answer. I will write it, right, so that I can move this x to the other side of the equation. I will now say if ax move to the other side of the equation, you have a minus ax is equal to what? B. Are we making sense? So a minus ax is equal to b. So I will now take x out because x is here and x is here. Take it out. You have x in bracket. X divided by x is 1 minus ax divided by x. You have a is equal to what? B. This is our expression. So let me write it out here as x in bracket 1 minus a is equal to b. So we divide both sides by 1 minus a and 1 minus a. In that case, you now have that your x is equal to b over 1 minus a. This is your final answer. So x is now on its own. Coefficient 1, sine plus power 1. That's the final answer. So let's solve for this. Here in this case, we want to make x a social function. We have x everywhere. So we have to be very careful. First, let's expand the bracket. Ax, remember how we used to expand our bracket? This will multiply by this. So ax multiplied by bx, we have abx squared. Ax multiplied by a, we have plus a squared x. All together. Minus b multiplied by bx, you have minus b squared x. Minus b multiplied by a, you have minus ab. All will be equal to, because x is in the bracket here, we expand. This is why we expand. If x is not in the bracket, I don't think there is need, but because x is here, we expand. So a times bx, we have abx squared. 8 times a, we have a squared. So the first thing we are going to do is try to make all the x to be at one side of the equation, while the rest will be at the other side. So we have x here, we have x here, we have x here. So this will go to this side, while this will come to this side. So we have abx squared plus a squared x minus b squared x. This one will go to your side. Let's bring in this one. It's positive here, so when it comes to become negative, abx squared equal to, this one was here before, so we'll write it at a squared. Now this here, when you cross the equation, it becomes for plus ab. Are we together? So the first thing now, we are going to solve out for this. Abs squared minus abs squared, that the two will cancel out. Another thing again, a squared x and b squared x. So we are now left with a squared x minus b squared x is equal to, all together. In this case, we have something like a. Let's take out the a here. A divided by a, we have a. Ab divided by a, you have plus b. This is the expression we get. So we take the like terms here. X, we have a squared minus b squared is equal to a over a plus, not over, in bracket, a plus b. So to make x a solvable formula, we divide both sides by a squared minus b squared. Divide here too by a squared minus b squared. So we're going to get something like x. Here will cancel out, so x will be on its own. We have a bracket a plus b, all divided by a squared minus b squared. And now you can see that we finally got our answer. The quotient of x is what do you call it? 1. The power is 1 and the sign is positive. So this is our answer. But you know, when you are dealing with this kind of math, in mathematics, it's always good to simplify to the lowest term. So in that case, we all know that there's what we call the difference of 2 squared, where you have a squared minus b squared can also be expressed as, let me use another alphabet. Let's say you have s squared minus y squared. This can also be expressed as s plus y in bracket x minus y in bracket. This is what we did in this chapter in our previous class. So I can re-express this as x is equal to a in bracket a plus b. Using the difference of 2 square formula, I'm going to have divided by a plus b in bracket a minus b. So by that, we have that this will cancel out this. So our x will finally be a divided by a minus b. It's our final subject of the formula. So let's get to the next example. So number 20, I have 2x equal to a. So to solve this, we can just simply divide both sides by 2. We now have square root of x is equal to a over 2. So you square both sides. I don't need to show you. I'm jumping steps here. When you square both sides, you have either x, because square will cancel out the square root. is equal to a squared over 4. This is your final answer. For here, we have that s plus a is equal to s plus a, or square root of s plus a is equal to b. So all you just need to do is square both sides. When you square both sides, the square root will cancel out the square. So you have x plus a is equal to b squared. So a crosses the equation. You have that x is equal to b minus b squared minus a. Because it's plus here. When you cross the equation, it becomes what? Minus. So because of space, I have to bring this in a fresh page so we can solve it properly. When you have something like this, first thing we are going to do is look for the LCM. And LCM of algebraic expression like this that are totally different is always, most of the time, the multiplications of both denominator, of both values. So let's start. So we multiply everything by this LCM. So we have first x over x plus a, all multiplied by x plus a, x plus b, minus a over x plus b, all multiplied by x plus a, x plus b, equal to 1 times x, is it showing that side? Plus a, x plus b. So first, x plus a will cancel out. We are left with x plus b. X plus b will cancel out. We are now left with minus a x plus a is equal to, now have x plus a, x plus b, because when you multiply by 1, nothing changes. So we'll start opening up the bracket. X times x is x squared plus xb minus ax plus a. Okay, this is minus, so everything will still be minus because of this minus sign here. A squared. So be careful about this thing. These are the common mistake we make while solving questions like this. This will be equal to x times x will be what? X squared. X times b will be plus bx. A times x will be plus ax. A times b will be plus ab. So first thing we're going to do is move all the x to one side of the equation, and all the values that have x to the one side of the equation, while the rest will go to the other side of the equation. So let's start. We have x squared plus xp minus ax minus, okay, this is a squared, so it's going to the other side. Let's enter here. We have x squared. So when x crosses the equation, it will be minus s squared. So this is minus s squared. When plus bx crosses the equation, it becomes minus bx. When plus ax crosses the equation, it becomes minus ax. This is equal to ab. This is minus here, right? When you cross the equation, it becomes plus a squared. So I've succeeded in moving all the algebras that have x to the left hand side, while the ones that don't have x to the right hand side. Now let's start solving. S squared minus s squared cancel out to 0. Xb minus xb cancel out to be 0. Minus ax minus ax, I'm going to have minus 2ax will be equal to here we just need to take like term, which is a, so it will be ab divided by a will give you what? B plus a squared divided by a will give you what? A. So this is it. So first we divide both sides by minus 2a, so we will have minus 2ax all divided by minus 2a equal to a into bracket a plus b all divided by what? Minus 2a. Here will cancel out, so x will now be, when here a will cancel out here, so you have minus b plus a all divided by 2. The minus sign multiplying everything. So it doesn't matter, if you check your answer, you're going to see that it doesn't matter if the arrangement is positive sign here, so you can write it as x as minus a plus b is equal to 2. This and this are the same, so this is it. When you make x the solve of the formula from this expression, this is what you're going to get. So making x the solve of the formula, or making anything the solve of the formula, is one of the sweetest maths you can solve as It's a very straightforward math. All you need to do is try to move all the subject of the formula, open it up in case if it's in a bracket. If it's in a square, try to remove the power. If it's in the square root, try to remove the power. But at the end of the day, make sure you have coefficient of 1, sign positive, power 1. Just be the letter alphabet on its own as in the left hand side of the equation, while the rest you move them to the right hand side of the equation. Thank you. See you next class. If you have any question, do it, drop in the comment section.